Okay, everyone, Friday morning on the Celtic Way morning briefing. A momentous day, Ryan. Hugely momentous. Celtic are back later. What did you think I was talking about? Yeah. Celtic are back.
I've actually lapped up so much election stuff on my phone that just totally went by me. It shouldn't have went by me because I've been reading stuff all morning, but I just realised what you were alluding to. Yes, the most important thing is Celtic are back in action. It's been a long month and a bit since they last played. The last game was the Scottish Cup final. A bit less of a event tonight. I know it's the opening of Ayr United's new stand. A return of Scott Brown against his former manager. There's plenty of storylines, but good that Celtic are back in pre-season, and really looking forward to making the trip to Ayr tonight into Somerset Park. It's a ground I've never been to.
Sentence
before.
Nobody has ever said before in the history of humanity. I'm really looking forward to going to Ayr.
Yeah, I used to go to uni there as well, so I'm used to
So
going.
did I. So did I.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to Celtic being back, to be honest. Having something tangible, like that's something to talk about, having performances to talk about as well. New players, well, not new players, returning players, maybe from loan, players that are looking for a second chance, familiar players. I don't know what sort of team we're going to get tonight, but that's the excitement of it as well. I think it's a chance for players to really make an impact and show that they are ready to make that leap into the first team. Looking forward to tonight, looking forward to seeing what is in store, and looking forward to seeing Scott Brown and Brendan Rodgers in the dugout. That's the big thing for me. I think seeing the two of them facing off against each other, that's going to be some sight, and definitely a picture-worthy moment.
Yeah, we can maybe try and tackle what kind of team we'll see tonight at some stage during this video. How are we, everyone? We've kind of nearly made it through another week. It's been a busy old week for the reasons that we've already kind of mentioned at the start of the video. But Celtic are back tonight, so how are you all feeling about that? Looking forward to seeing the team back in action, even if it's likely to be a team that doesn't resemble the one we hope to see in the Champions League, etc. this season. It'll still be nice to see a few players. Who are you looking forward to seeing tonight? Who are you hoping to see? Let us know in the comments, and I'll bring them up and we can discuss that. Just before we get started, let's just talk about our sponsors. And if you need a reliable heating solution, MPH Boilers have you covered. They're an award-winning family-run business. They serve all of mainland Scotland, and they specialise in top-quality boiler installations and servicing. So they've also partnered with Weissman, as you see at the top of the screen, who are their German-engineered friends, and their boilers come with up to a 12-year warranty. Plus, MPH Boilers offers flexible financing options that makes your heating upgrade easy and, most importantly, affordable. Stay warm and worry-free with MPH Boilers and Weissman. www.mphboilers.co.uk for more details. What's going on the website at the moment, Ryan?
So on there this morning, there is a piece from Alan Morrison talking about on-ball values, OBVs, on the defence and the findings over the past few seasons on what Celtic's numbers are like. A few numbers that stand out, definitely Bernabei's negative OBV number, which is erratic to say the least, very much in the negatives when he was on the ball, which, it's pretty much sums him up as a player. I would say I think he's on loan at Internacional until the
end of the year.
So we won't be seeing him. We probably won't see him again in a Celtic top, to be perfectly honest. I think the writing is on the wall for Bernabei. But yeah, overall some positive numbers. Celtic are clearly going in the right direction when it comes to defensive on-ball values. So that's on the site. There's also the Q&A yesterday from Liam Scales. Liam Scales was talking to the media ahead of the Ayr United match. Some good comments. He made no secrets about the fact that he wanted Adam Idah back at the club, not just because he's a good player, but because everybody likes him in the dressing room. He's a funny character and he's acclimatised well. That's important. All the players are now calling for him back. The manager wants him back. If everybody wants him back, then let's get him back.
I thought it was interesting that response. Obviously, I think he's quite close to Adam Idah. He's his former club teammate and obviously international teammate as well. So I think they're quite close. But I thought it was interesting the way he answered that question. A lot of a lot of players would probably have just completely shut it down and said, what I want isn't important, it's up to the club. And I know Liam Scales mentioned that at the end of his answer, but it was at the very end, one sentence at the end. I think the rest of his answer, which is probably like a good minute, he spent talking about, what Liam Scales brings to the team and even the things we don't see as fans. He said he's like such a good guy, gets on with everyone in the dressing room. And to be honest, I got that impression. I think he is a very likeable guy, Adam Idah. But I thought it was interesting that he said, we all want him to come back, because normally from a footballer you would get that response of, it's not really about what I want, it's about what the club, and I don't really want to comment on it. I just wondered if the fact he went so all in on getting Idah back meant that he'd heard something from Idah to suggest that this is going to happen. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I read the same. I read completely the same. Joe and I halved the transcription between us in the office yesterday talking about Liam Scales, and as soon as we both heard that comment, we're like, he's signing for Celtic. You don't go that far into it without knowing that there's something happening in the background. I think they've been briefed. They know that they know he's going to come back. They're just settling personal terms and a fee between Norwich and Celtic. I think he will be back. The club, I'm now more confident than I ever was. I was maybe a wee bit less confident last week or the week before. Not much has been talked about. The fact that the new Norwich manager wanted to have a look at him as well. It seems by that report on the record a couple of days ago, he's desperate to come back. He's made it clear to Norwich that his future lies at Celtic Park, and that's half the battle. You've got to have the player. The player's got to be willing to make that move. It's a permanent move. But I said it in yesterday's show. It's probably the first club that Idah's been at. I know he's only been at 2, but the first one that he's properly felt at home for that 6-month period, and he's a valued member of the first team squad. I thought Liam Scales' whole press conference yesterday was great, in which he was talking about Idah. He was talking about how Kyogo would run teams down, wear them down, and then it's something completely different when Idah comes on, because he brings that physical presence, and that against tired defences is definitely a weapon to be utilised. I'd love to see the two of them on the pitch at the same time if possible. Maybe that could be something that they work on in the US tour if they want to change from their 4-3-3. But having that option there is good, or having both options, one to come off the bench and chop and change. I don't think Celtic will have a first choice striker next season. There's too many games in order for there to be a first choice. I think they'll just chop and change every single game, or every 2 or 3 games. Some games you'll play Kyogo if he stays at the club, and others you'll play Adam Idah if he joins the club. There's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes there, but it looks as if Adam Idah's coming back to Celtic, which is great news, I must say.
Yeah, it'd be a huge boost to everyone. Right, I want to go through a few of your comments. McLaughlin P. Who's in goals for us tonight? I don't think it'll be Hoopy. I reckon it'll probably be a half for one goalkeeper, a half for another. Probably Scott Bain and someone else.
Clark, I would say, because he played at Ayr last season. So he's got even more experience than maybe most do. I've seen pictures of him in training.
Joe Morrison, is that another?
Yeah, guy? Morrison as well. Yeah, I think he was in the title celebrations. I seem to remember seeing him as that.
Highly rated. I think he's from Prestwick as well. So great producer of.
It's good stock comes from there in recent years from Celtic.
You're looking at some of it, but
yeah, it's good. It'll be good to see if those guys can make an impact tonight. I'd much rather see those players play tonight than the likes of Scott Bain or Benjamin Siegrist, because we know what they bring to the team already. It's a bit of an unknown quantity with these young players. You learn more in pre-season if you play the youngsters and play these guys that are coming through and looking to make a name for themselves. They might very well go out on loan or go to pastures new permanently, but I'd like to see them in the flesh and see what they can bring to the club. I'm not sure about Toby Oluwayemi's situation. I don't know if he's been training. That's an interesting one. Could be one that maybe he could maybe be drafted in. He's not the only former Admin Avaka player that I'd like to see tonight, especially Matthew Anderson, who had a really good season in the Austrian second tier. So I'd like to see him get a run out tonight and see what he can do, especially that Greg Taylor's on an extended break due to the Euros. I know he didn't participate on the pitch, but he was involved in the team. So it's a chance at left back for somebody like Matthew Anderson to make an impact and really show us what he can do.
Very, very highly rated, Matthew Anderson. I think I've spoken about this before, but I remember going to a Celtic Rangers youth team game at Celtic Park a couple of seasons ago and chatting to a scout. I think he was from Newcastle, or certainly from that area, one of those teams. And he was telling me that he was there to see Matthew Anderson, and he said a number of other scouts were there solely to see Matthew Anderson. So since that moment, I've kind of kept an eye on him. And you never know with these left backs. I mean, what Celtic are like. If you get someone like Matthew Anderson to come in and somehow do a Kieran Tierney and come out of nowhere to suddenly become Celtic's first choice left back, then that'd be pretty good. Obviously, we still need to sign a left back anyway, but I really am interested to see just how talented Matthew Anderson is, because he seems to be very highly rated. And as I say, we could really do with a top left back. So I would like to see him tonight for sure. Smell the glove asking the question. Mitchell Frame's a good one, yeah. Are we any closer to buying anyone? League starts 4 weeks on Sunday. Yes, it does. Who knows if we're any closer? As we say, I think the Adam Idah deal will hopefully be concluded relatively soon, over the next kind of 10 days or so. I would certainly hope that goalkeeper Peter Vindal Jensen possibly would come in that kind of period of time as well before we go to the US. Anything else you're hearing, Ryan, signing wise?
Not apart from those two. Those are the two names that seem to be doing a lot of work at the moment, or in terms of in those rumour mills, they seem to be the two names that are getting talked about. Not being a left back talked about, which is what I would have probably wanted. Another centre back would have been great.
Has there been any left backs? Left backs all summer?
That's the only thing that I did hear was that Greg Taylor was getting lined up for a new contract. Now, it's only rumours, and we don't know for certain if that is going to be the case, but he's only got a year left on his deal. That's something that, regardless if Celtic see him as the first choice, it's something that they need to sort out, because he can't be going on a free transfer. Celtic have had him for 5-6 years now at the club. You've got to sign up your assets regardless of if you think they're going to be the first team choice for next season. It's the same with Ralston. When his contract was running down, you're better off giving them a new deal, and it makes them more valuable in the long run, and you've got them signed up as well, and you don't have to worry about the time running down before their contract goes out, and then you get those headlines, time running out, etc., etc. I hope that gets sorted soon. He had an up and down season last season, I'll be honest, but he's a player that I did think got better as the season went on, and as the team stabilised, he stabilised too, and I thought he put in some good performances towards the end of the campaign. I want them to buy a left back, a physical, taller, stronger left back, but I think that Taylor will still get game time, even if there is a left back that comes through the door. People talk about Tierney. I don't think that will happen anyway because of his injury issues, but there's no point, because he'd be injured for a lot of the time as well. It's just, I know he's got a current injury, but he picks up minor niggles all the time, and even if you were to sign him, you would still be playing Taylor for maybe even a majority of the games, because of the amount of games that Tierney would be missing. I just want a younger, stronger, taller left back, somebody like Alistair Johnson probably, but at left back, in order to balance out that defence, really.
Yeah, the Tierney one's are a real shame for him, because we all know how good Kieran Tierney is. Robert saying, be good to see the boys back. We just want all the key players we need in the door. I think we all feel like that. Stephen is watching in Mexico as Hurricane Beryl rages outside. Wow. Any signs of incoming transfers as a welcome distraction? I think we've just covered that, Stephen. Nope. Not at the moment, really. But as we say,
we'll be asking Brendan Rodgers that tonight. If he's doing a press conference, I will ask him the question, see if they're any closer to signings, and that'll be on the Celtic Way on video form. I'll video the press conferences. Probably Scott Brown will talk to the media as well, and that'll be Celtic related. He's a legendary captain. Yeah. He'll want to talk about Celtic too, and he'll be delighted the fact that Brendan Rodgers and his team, a lot of the first team, will be making that journey to Somerset Park. It's almost as if he's... It's like his former employers coming and they're seeing how well he's done in his own right as a manager. I like to see that, and I like to see... I was reading his comments from last night, and he was talking about He doesn't want to be known as just the Celtic captain anymore. He wants to be a manager in his own right. And that is important because although him being the skipper for X amount of years was so important and he was a legendary figure and he won basically all there is to win in Scotland with Celtic, he'll want to forge out his own path as a manager. And by doing that, it's all about putting in a good impression tonight. I think in the long game, he'd probably want to manage Celtic in the long-term future. So nights like tonight are a good opportunity to start on that road and try and impress those who he's coming up against.
Yeah, Bobby's reckoning Odin, I don't know if you've been serious here, Bobby, Odin Thiago home hat-trick to springboard his career, and he's not been serious, he's just compared home to Pirlo. What a shame. Will we see home tonight? Potentially. Robert's wondering what James McCarthy's on-ball value is, Ryan. Any update on that?
Don't know yet, because that was just the defence that was getting done. So I don't even know if he'll clock on-ball value, because a lack of minutes. You need to have an X amount of minutes.
You need to be on the ball, don't you? So I'm assuming James McCarthy's on some sort of gardening leave now, if there is such a thing for players. He's got one more year to go, doesn't he? I don't think he was even with Celtic last season. He wasn't in the photo. He was nowhere to be seen at the end of the season in the celebrations. I'm guessing he is just, as I say, in some sort of gardening leave. I think you're going to struggle to find a club to take him. So that's that. We've got one more year of James McCarthy.
Sorry, just on James McCarthy, I don't blame him whatsoever, because Celtic offered him that contract and he's seen out that contract. That Celtic were ill-advised enough to offer him a 4-year deal, so he's got every right to sit that out and get what he's owed, because they signed that back in 2021. They signed that deal. It's not as if he's taken money away from the club. The club offered him that contract and he's seen out the contract, whether or not he's playing or not. Apparently he's very good in the dressing room and good with the younger players. That's what I've heard anyway. But you don't see him photographed at all. You don't see him in the squad lists. You don't see him in the yearly photos either. So if you could move him on, if there could be a mutual agreement to terminate his contract, that would be fine. But if he's prepared to sit out and take the money, then he's well within his rights to do that, because at the end of the day, Celtic offered him that deal.
Yeah, I think people forget that James McCarthy was actually pretty good in the Premier League with Everton and that. It just hasn't worked out, and it's a shame for everyone, I think. John saying, no way Idah's worth 8 million, 6 million at best. Come on, John. Idah is... Idah for me.
There's not that much of a difference between 6 and 8. And
it doesn't matter to me. But if Norwich want 8 million, it seems like it's going to be about 6 from what we're hearing. Yeah. But if Norwich want 8 million, pay it. You wouldn't let that get in the way of signing him. Hazel saying everyone is just praying Celtic get some new players in before the US trip. Hopefully it's all going on behind the scenes and we'll move quickly. McLaughlin's got the right idea. Ayr v Celtic in the big telly tonight. Portugal v France on in the bedroom telly. Son of Scotland wondering why Hatate's missing from training. Have I missed something? He was posting on Instagram today or maybe yesterday with the time difference, him back at Kawasaki Frontale's stadium. So he is still in Japan at the moment. I reckon that he and Adam Idah have been given a little bit of extra time off because they were both on international duty with Japan. Yep. Kyogo wasn't, so that's why he's back. Is that correct?
Yeah, that will be the reason. And I've got to say, it's going to be interesting with Kyogo's long-term international future. Is he going to retire from international duty? He's not getting called up at this moment in time. I know he's 29, but he'll be 30 soon. And, you're coming towards the end of the prime of your career. International players, Japan are becoming better and better with every year that passes. There's more and more players that are now going to Europe and plying their trade. It's going to be an interesting one. Does he see himself having an international future? If he bangs in the goals, then he's got every possibility. But time is ticking. It's not like 3-4 years ago when he was 25, 26, and he was right in the prime. 24, 25, joining the club. He was right in the prime. This was a chance for him to solidify his place in the Japan team. If anything, it's been a negative for him internationally playing for Celtic for whatever reason, because he's not had that many appearances, or not that many that I can remember. which is a shame because he's a phenomenal player, and we know how phenomenal he is, and it's a shame that Japan can't share in that, that belief, or that, witnessing him being so good at what he does. I don't think they play to his strengths anyway. You're better off with somebody like Maeda, who's going to do the running, going to do the pressing, and just be that overall pest up front. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for Kyogo outside of Celtic internationally, but as long as he's doing the business for Celtic, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah. Maestro wondering if Kwon and Lawal will be involved tonight. I think both probably will be. I don't know if I have much hope for either of them actually nailing down any sort of regular game time for us this season, if I'm brutally honest. I know you think quite highly of Bosun Lawal. I still think he's got a bit to go, but I'd like to see them both tonight. Fresh season. They both had pretty good second halves of last season, didn't they?
Yeah, they were. Lawal's was a lot better than Kwon. Kwon started well at St Mirren, but then fell away, I think, due to injuries and the fact that Bacchus came back for St Mirren after the Asia Cup. He came back and he was playing first team football. So Kwon was demoted to the bench, and he was injured. He had an injury that kept him out for the duration of the season, from when he was injured to the end of it. For Lawal, he was a constant for Fleetwood. You ask any Fleetwood supporter who was their best player last season, a lot of them will say that Bosun Lawal was that player. That's why I'm desperate to see. Well, not desperate. I'm looking forward and anticipating seeing Lawal tonight. He's had that year of football. I'm more interested in seeing where he actually plays, to be honest. I'll be a bit disheartened if he comes out as a centre back and not as a defensive midfielder, which is where he has been. It's where he's been thriving over the past 4, 5, 6 months for Fleetwood. Ever since, and I've got to say it, ever since Charlie Adam came to the fore at Fleetwood, he's been playing in that position, and that's clearly his specialist position, because he can make mistakes and get away with it in defensive midfield. If he plays just a little bit further back and he makes a mistake on the ball, more often than not, he's going to give away a goal, or he's going to give away a big chance for the opposition. So he needs that freedom in the defensive midfield role. I want to see him play, whether he starts or not. I want a good 20 minutes, half an hour to sort of watch him and see the improvements in his game, because physically he's there. Physically he's well rounded in terms of his talents there. His upper body strength is second to none. I just want to see that composure on the ball and really taking his opportunity tonight, because the games in the US are a big opportunity for him, but he's got to take this as a massive one. I'd love to see him start, but even if he comes off the bench, I'd like to see him take that opportunity tonight.
I think Daniel Kelly would be another one tonight I'd be interested in seeing. Henrik McLarson wondering what the ground capacity here is. I think it's about 8,000, and I think you'll probably have about 4,000 Celtic fans tonight, so it should be a good one. Do you want to have just a quick go between us at trying to name a team for tonight? It might be a difficult one, but let's just say that Scott Bain starts and goals. Right back, I don't know what you're doing. Iwata again for his yearly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Centre back, Nawrowski and
Welsh will probably play.
Nawrowski and Welsh.
Or would you go Welsh and Lawal?
I want to see Lawal in defensive midfield. I'd play him there.
But
if you're going to play Iwata at right back, because it seems like that's one of the only options, then play Lawal at defensive midfield. Left back. I'd like to see Matthew Anderson, get rewarded for that good loan spell at Admin Avaka. He's got more first team football than Mitchell Frame, although Frame has played more games for Celtic in the first team, if you get me. But yeah, I'd like to see Matthew Anderson get that choice. Who else for you in the midfield?
So midfield, I'd like to see Daniel Kelly get some game time. Other players you could have: Odin Thiago Home playing, Kwon, obviously. I don't think you'll see like Matt O'Reilly certainly starting. I know he's back in training, but I'm guessing these guys will be given some time off. Left back, we've obviously got Adam Montgomery as well if he's fit. He's been in training, hasn't he? So Adam Montgomery, the more I think of it might be him that we see play a bit. You've even got like Mikey Johnson. Can we see a bit of him?
Again, he might not play as he was international with Republic of
Yeah.
Ireland, so he might just have that wee bit of a.
I think what we're getting is it's going to be very second string tonight, so don't expect to see too much. But that presents an opportunity for players to do things.
We know who's probably going to play up front, Kyogo, because he's basically the only striker that we know will probably be there next season. Are you going to play O tonight, knowing that there's bids in the background from Genk? Are you going to take that chance and play him? Because if he gets injured, then that scuppers the whole thing. All it takes is one bad tackle, but then you could go through every game thinking like that and not risk players. Maybe you see him coming off the bench, but I do see O starting. I see Yang maybe starting as well because he's been training, and he's not getting picked for the Olympic squad, I don't believe. So he'll have a full pre-season to work at it and improve. I know a lot of people have already made their mind up about Yang and they want him out on loan or permanently, but it's a clean slate ahead of next season. Pre-season can do things to players. Players can improve ever so suddenly, and he's still a young guy. He's only 21, 22 years old. Still get time to develop. There could still be a player in there. He showed enough in some moments last season to show that there was some talents in his game, but there's other areas where he really does need to improve if he wants to get anywhere near the top level, which will be his aim.
Really not sure about Yang, I'll be honest. I'm not sure about him. Hopefully I'm wrong. You get me, like Kuhn could play tonight, couldn't he? What was I going to ask you there? I think it was a comment we got in. Oh yeah, that was it. Sorry, it was about a player we won't see tonight. I wouldn't think is Rocco Vata, because he's heading. I think it's pretty much been said now that he's going to be leaving for Watford, a 4-year deal. I don't think we lose too much sleep over it. Is that fair to say?
No, I don't think. I don't think Brendan Rodgers wanted him to stay at the club. I think that was clear. He played against Bucky Thistle, scored against Bucky Thistle, and he's had that moment of being a Celtic player and scoring for Celtic in a professional game. But he never signed new terms on a deal, and the fact that he's leaving the club means that another youngster has left Celtic before they've really had a chance to make their name in the first team. A lot of people were calling for him, but he never had that opportunity in November, December time as you were calling upon, or you were talking about, or calling back to. That was the moment for him to really make his impact in the first team. You know, Mikey Johnson was in there, and a lot of people didn't want Mikey Johnson there. They wanted someone different, whilst other players were injured. He didn't take that opportunity, or he never got given that opportunity, which maybe says a lot as to where Brendan Rodgers seen him in his development. He did talk very openly, saying that he needed more development in his game. There was still plenty of work to do. So maybe he just needs to make that move to Watford, where they might play him in the Championship and he can improve with a bit less pressure on his shoulders. It's a good move for him. I think Watford, I don't know if they're a well-run club, but they've got a bit of money. They go through managers like there's no tomorrow, but I think the fact that they're in the Championship gives them a better chance of making the first team rather than what they would be like in the Premier League. Because, you know, they'll sign players from Italy, Germany, Spain, etc. They'll sign a whole conglomerate, whereas they might look closer to home in the Championship in order to get them out of there. He'll be joining up with a fellow player that's played in Scotland, and Ryan Porteous. So that could be a good move for him. I wish him well. It looks as if it's going to happen. It didn't work out at Celtic for whatever reason, whether that being, you know, a lack of quality or the terms weren't agreed, maybe a bit of both. But yeah, he moves on to pastures now, and you wish him well. But we're hoping that it's one that isn't the one that got away, but rather a good decision at the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty relaxed about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
and I think, as a few people have said, you know, wish him luck for moving forward, but it won't be at Celtic. Thomas wondering who the captain tonight will be. I don't know, possibly Stephen Welsh or Scott Bain, even someone like that. Just thinking of or Kyogo, I guess, could be one if he plays as well. He might be the obvious one. Craig wondering if the game is on Celtic TV. It is on Celtic TV. All 5 of our pre-season games are on Celtic TV. It's not anywhere else, so you'll need Celtic TV to watch it legally, of course. I know what some of you are like. John, tonight is a bounce game, as is the Queen's Park game. Chance to try out a few players. Result matters, not a job. I agree totally. It's just about, it's not even, like, I'll be totally honest here and selfish. I'm not even I want to see like the fringe players play well. Don't get me wrong, but I'm actually more just excited about going along selfishly to a game and seeing Celtic play tonight rather than actually caring too much. Obviously, I don't care about the result. It'd be nice to win, but I don't really care. Performance, I'm not massively fussed about either. I think it's just fitness building, and obviously the team we see tonight is going to be so far from the team that starts the first league game. So for me, really, I'm just looking forward to going along tonight, being with my people again in that away end at Somerset Park, and I think it's going to be really nice. The weather's kind of a bit gloomy here today, so I don't think it'll be particularly great tonight. Certainly not going to be a summery feel, but it'd just be nice to have Celtic back.
Without a doubt, I've missed it over the past month or so. As much as I've enjoyed the Euros, barred in Scotland, obviously. Yeah, going to a Celtic game, looking forward to it. It's my first game of the season. It is the first game of the pre-season. Then there'll be a bit of a break, and then all of a sudden they'll be on their pre-season tour of the USA. So it's good. It's good that there'll be a good crowd as well, because in some of these games there's hardly any crowd, if any.
Over 9,000 tickets sold, Smell the Glove is saying.
Incredible. It's going to be a good atmosphere regardless. You just know that people will be up for it. I think there'll be that bit of a hunger for the football back in any capacity, whether it's a competitive game or not. Hopefully it's a decent game to watch for the viewer. But as you said, it's all about the fitness at the end of the day, and getting used to being back and playing 45 or 90 minutes, depending on how much. I think there'll be two teams, to be honest. One team will play the first 45, another will play the second. As long as they can get those fitness levels up. Look at Queen's Park next Wednesday as well to work on those fitness levels. And then there'll be a bit of time to further. But there's no games in between Queen's Park and DC.
I was wondering if there will be something announced. I saw something online yesterday about, and I've now forgotten what team it is. Who does Steve Evans manage? Is it Rotherham or Steve Evans?
I think it might be Rotherham or Stevenage or something
Rotherham.
like that.
It is Rotherham. Apparently we're playing Rotherham in a closed door game. But obviously, as I say, that'll be closed doors. So I think we will have some sort of games in there.
That's a missed opportunity for me. Is the closed door game going to be at Lennoxtown, or is it going to be down south? Because if it was down south, then that was an opportunity to maybe take Celtic down to England. I know there might be a wee bit of reservations after some of the off the field troubles. Yeah,
I don't know why, because our fans, I think our fans behave themselves generally.
There was the Brentford game as well.
Great support.
And it's an opportunity
seems
to
like
bring the brand down.
The club, it seems like that's something the club don't really want to do anymore. But I used to love being down to see Celtic at the Emirates Cup, the Wembley Cup. I went to a friendly at Stamford Bridge years ago. The Sunderland game, obviously. Like, there's been so many really good memories of thousands of Celtic fans going down south. I think it's a shame we don't get that anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame. I remember going to watch Celtic versus Manchester City at the Etihad, and that was right at the beginning of when the takeover had been completed at Man City. So there was a weird mix between, you had Adebayor, who'd just been bought for X amount of money. You had your Stephen Irelands as well.
I knew you were going to say Stephen Ireland there. I don't know why.
It just reminds me of Key Money Man City. Sorry, that's the first player that I think of. To be honest, it was either that, I was going to say Richard Dunn, but I think they had money even when he was playing too, or before. So yeah, that was one of the examples. But it was a weird mix. It was a good atmosphere at that game. I've been to the Etihad a couple of times, but it was a good atmosphere being in the away end at that stadium. Definitely a bit of a feisty atmosphere between the two sets of supporters, which made it a better game. In all honesty, Samaras went back and played against his former team. I remember that quite vividly. So I like the English games. I like going down to England and following Celtic and sort of covering those games too. But it's disappointing that won't be the case.
Right, well, enjoy yourself tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Same goes to all of you watching, whether you're going or you're watching around the world. And yeah, anything else to add, Ryan?
No, I'm just looking forward to the game tonight, and I'll be live pre and post match. I think it'll just be me on my own, so it might be a shorter video pre and post, but I will be on live in some capacity before and after the game. So keep an eye out on the channel for that.
Very good, right? Thanks everyone for watching. So unplug my mic. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch up with you next week. Have a good holiday as well, Ryan. And
Thank you very much, guys. I'll catch you in about 2 weeks' time. If you're not watching tonight.
Yeah, right. Bye everyone. See you later.